What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is May 26th of 2019. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, we're going to be focusing in on not only the current price levels we're watching on Bitcoin's price to lead the market towards different directions, but along with that as well, we're going to be focusing in on the potential altcoin cycle that could be coming and what could be the catalyst behind it. So we've got lots to discuss. Let's not push it off any longer right after our quick sponsor.
Oh. All right.
All right, everyone, so let's go ahead and take a look at the current state of the market. Most altcoins at the moment are down following a decline in Bitcoin. However, there are a few exceptions that are currently up at the moment, mostly cryptocurrencies, coins or tokens that are trading on Binance or Binance IEO projects. And this does make sense. You know, you've got plays, for example, like BitTorrent, Matic, Orbs, and Tron. A lot of this makes sense to me because you had about a 70, 80, 90% retracement off of the open for a lot of these IEO launchpad projects. And most of them are still sitting at this time around the double-digit million-dollar range, with a few exceptions. So obviously, as some liquidity is returned to Bitcoin, you're going to get some speculators coming in on that dip. But this is no altcoin cycle, guys. Do not let it mislead you. We are not in the rampant speculatory phase because as Bitcoin has declined a mere 1%, you're seeing the vast majority of altcoins follow, most of them going down towards the upper range here, as Bitcoin is down around 1.4%. Now, I want to focus on these two themes, guys. I want to talk about something very important, not to misunderstand in regards to how I talk about Bitcoin and, where we are right now in the current situation where, as I talk about it on the channel, I talk about the twilight zone, or an area where I don't try to be too finite and where I see Bitcoin going. And along with that, the altcoin cycle. This is something that a lot of people are getting more and more eager about. It's finally starting to look like we might be able to have it because we are seeing some double-digit moves in altcoins on a weekly basis. And along with that, we are seeing that liquidity return to Bitcoin. So we're going to be focusing on those two different topics as we go throughout the video. But doing a real quick market summary, you can see here, guys, we're holding around the $250 billion range here for valuation. We're setting slightly lower highs every time. Again, as I'm going to be focusing in on a Bitcoin, we're wedging at the moment for overall coin market capitalization, setting higher lows every time and also lowering highs. So that's a really good significant thing to talk about in price, and that's going to lead us to our major point on Bitcoin. For market dominance here, just to let you all know, for those of you who do use this as an indicator, for me to get bullish on altcoins, I want to see Bitcoin dominance drop below its relative low. It's only a percentage away, but I want to see it break through there and really start to see a good day or two of momentum and then starting to trade off of that. But we haven't seen it just yet on the overall scale of things, and we'll build more on that point. Alrighty, so I need to clarify this one point because some people will look at the titles of my videos. I mean, it's a very select few, guys. I'm not trying to trash talk you guys. In fact, a lot of you watch through my whole videos. We have a great watch time on the channel, which I'm very thankful for. And as always, I appreciate the support you guys have shown. Almost, man, it's a few months. It'll be 2 years since I started this channel. Crazy to think about it. But building on this point, I see a lot of people look at maybe, for example, one of my recent videos where I say, could Bitcoin go to 10,000 or 6,000? And people are like jokingly saying like, oh, wow, Nick says it could go up or down. What a genius. And at the surface, I mean, if I were to just say, oh, yeah, it could go up or it could go down, that would be pretty stupid, right? Of course, it's going to go up or down, or third direction that a lot of people don't talk about, sideways. But to build on this point, though, the reason why I talk about Bitcoin, possibly going to these very different price ranges is because in a lot of cases, Bitcoin can be going through what's known as a twilight zone. Or that's what I like to call it in any market where any given asset is coiling in. It's coiling in to having lower highs and higher lows. So you're having a higher support range and a lowering resistance range, right? And this is leading into an obvious technical pattern that you all probably know about if you know TA 101, and that's wedges. Some people call them triangles, things of that sort. But this has become very obvious. One of my favorite traders, for example, Teddy, is one of my friends over in the Netherlands. He's been covering this, and like as it's been evolving, he's been sending all these really funny meme photos where it's just been correlating in more and more and more over the past few days. And as people have expected some kind of crazy move, and people are already making their bets, trying to trade in between here, they don't realize that in a lot of cases they're playing a casino game. You're playing a 50-50 game. You can weigh different variables, as we'll do in this video, to talk about what's more likely, or at least what we can guesstimate. But nonetheless, don't try to trade in here, guys. At least I personally don't do it. I can't tell you guys what to do. You got to decide that for yourself. But what I do is I wait for price to break out of the wedge very clearly and get past very key even levels. So for example, what I'm watching for, to just give you that summary, is for this to break above 8,200. That's when I would go long and have a close on the hourly candle. And along with that, I'm also keeping an eye for a breakdown past 7,600. If we break below 7,600 on the hourly, it's very likely that not only are we out of the wedge, but we're extending far away from it, and it's getting to a range which was previous support. So if we break through that quite clearly with a big red candle and we get some decent volume coming in, very similar to what we saw back here with the mass clear through on the order book back in the 17th of May, that would be something where I would turn bearish, and I would expect it to come back down to that range of 6,000 that I'm watching. So this is what I mean when I talk about it going to these very different big ranges, and I talk about the twilight zone. So if you see any snarky people in this video or any other video in the future, put in that comment trying to be a smarty pants and trying to be humorous, I want you all to do justice by not only liking their comment, but replying to them with a snappy comment saying, you know, it might go up, it might go down, maybe, but baby, we're in the twilight zone. Okay, I want you all to leave that. All right, and maybe they'll get the kind of idea that they need to check out the video because they missed out on what we're actually talking about. All right, so you guys know what to do. I need you guys to do some hard work for me. You know, do your job, do play your role in this effort to get people to understand what the twilight zone is. It's one of our many sayings. I'll add that to the book. Exuberance. Previous resistance becomes new support, and the twilight zone. This is going to be our little book of Data Dash sayings. All right, guys, I've rambled on enough. That's my major point on Bitcoin. So we're still just watching. This could take another few days. I really didn't think it would drag on as long as it has. But again, I haven't been doing anything too actively while we've been coiling through here. I want to see this take direction, and then I ride the trend. I wait for the market to send clear signals, and not to mention volume has been on the decline. So what's more likely? If you guys want me to try to play the guessing game on this, you know, what are some of the things that are making me more bullish or more bearish? Well, I'll be honest, guys. As much as this has taken a little bit longer and has made me a little more fearful that we might not get the rally to 10K, I'll say that most of the factors are pretty overwhelmingly positive. You have exponentially rising higher lows here, for this case, comparative to lowering highs. And these lowering highs are really holding around the same range. It's around 8,100 to 8,300 in this case. Very similar and not too far off. Now, I wouldn't say this is an ascending triangle in this case, which would be a very bullish pattern where you're basically holding the same range of resistance and highering lows. But we are very similar to that. And again, this wedge will tell you, usually it tends to be that if you have a wedge like this and it's not an ascending wedge where the highs are getting higher as well, but at a slower rate, that's usually a bearish pattern. In this case, when you have hiring lows at a faster pace, this is showing that buyers are getting more eager. Think about the psychology of the price action you're seeing. This means that buyers are, it's not fulfilling limit orders on the order book. Buyers are coming in on the open market and saying, no, I'll pay it the price right now. I'll start getting in right here. I'll build my position. And you can start to see the volume returning in on these days, and they move quite quick. So I would say that that's the biggest giveaway here. Now, volume's quite lackluster, but again, what a lot of people are going to look for here is for a breakout on the volume, and you really don't need that much for that, for the momentum start to kick in. So I would actually say that's more of a bullish thing in this case, that and during this consolidation period, you haven't seen stark sell-off. The only day you saw that really was here, for example, on the 17th, as we talked about. There's no serious sell side, though, and every time this is pulling back, it's setting higher lows. So this is why I do believe there's still a very good chance, and why I'm still eager to get in at around 8,200 to build on my position towards around 10,000. Is it going to go exactly to 10,000? Will it climb higher? I don't know. I know that there's a decent chance that it can make a good $1,000 move in this case, $1,000+ move. So that's what I'm watching. So we're going to take a look at the other cryptocurrencies. It's the same exact scenario, guys. Ethereum wedging in. You can take a look at the hourly to make it even more clear here. Again, setting higher lows, lowering highs, getting closer and more tight in price action. And XRP as well. A little bit of a rougher one. We'll also take a look at Bitcoin Cash. Similar pattern here, right? Playing in with some levels here before we really start to get into the core wedge of price action. Bitcoin Cash as well, we'll take a look at. has been coiling in price action. Let me take a look at Binance. I'm probably gonna have to do ABC. Yeah, there we go. So if we take a look at Tether here, we can see price action has been coiling in. I don't know what exchange I was looking at where I had my drawing. I apologize, I don't know why it was coming up. But again, coiling the price here. Very simple. Not complex, guys. So we'll have to see. Something's going to happen over the next few days. I really don't see this just pushing sideways through, guys. This is a very significant level, and the market's been a little too quiet over the last few days. I think we're going to get some significant volume coming in. Now, let's talk about the altcoin cycle. So as we talked about, we are not in the full-fledged altcoin cycle yet, guys. Altcoins aren't gaining extreme dominance. They just kind of, caught up with Bitcoin and closed down on some of the gains that we're seeing throughout the month of May. But what could be the catalyst that actually leads altcoins to picking up some steam, at least in the early stage before we enter into a full, kind of the later stage of crypto cycles? Those are very key points to talk about. That's one thing I want to mention before I jump into what I believe that catalyst will be, and you might see the thumbnail here. The tab that I have on my window, but the major thing I want to push to people is that risk in altcoins is going to increase as we go later on into the cycle. Okay, you can actually take a look at the logarithmic chart on a lot of altcoins, guys, except for some of the new ones that were obviously only traded towards the later part of the cycle. You can see that a lot of the exponential gains not only happen early on in the day of these altcoins in the altcoin cycle, but it really happens as Bitcoin starts to go exponential, right? As that liquidity starts to circulate around, speculation is rampant everywhere. That's when you start to really, you can start to feel comfortable taking risk. Trying to pick bottoms on altcoins is not a good game. So that's one thing I want to, encourage people not to get too eager, to try to trade these things. Now, what could be the catalyst that really gets going on this? Well, you've got the IEO craze, which seems to be doing quite well so far for Binance. And you've also got soon to be margin trading on the most liquid crypto altcoin platform. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say what I believe is most important. Margin is a very useful tool if used properly, guys. Okay? I think it's a very, very exciting tool to use if you know how to use it properly and you have a great risk to reward profile, meaning that you have minimal risk, you have a nice stop set, and you have a wide range to potentially make returns, and you're playing it safe. You know how to use this as a proper tool. I use it in Forex markets. I've used it in traditional markets as well on some of the brokerages I have in stocks. You can use margin. But when it comes to cryptos can be very volatile. And when this comes around, when there is margin trading on Binance for altcoins that are $100 million altcoin, $50 million altcoin, you've got to be very careful. There is some great potential upside, obviously, but there is a lot of risk you're taking on. So this was a recent leak that came out. Binance had posted an image where they showed that they had a margin tab. We've talked about this again for like 2 months now. This has been speculated to be building up, Binance. Things like this spread very easily, but it gets traders excited. And as they mentioned, you have a higher potential for profit. It's basically, if you're doing 2 or 3x, you're basically trading with 2 or 3 times the original capital that you own underlying. But the greater risk comes in the sense that you can get a margin call. So if I'm trading, let's say 2x margin in this case, or 2x leverage, basically I'm using double the capital. So I'm putting up my capital in this case, and I'm getting to basically, borrow an additional set of capital that's equal to mine in this case. So I get to own twice the amount of altcoins in this case, or twice the amount of Bitcoin that I would own. And that looks great on paper, but if that position goes down 50%, I lose everything I own. That's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about. When you increase that to 5% margin, 5 times margin, if it goes down 20%, you lose everything. Your whole position. It's not a 20% decline. It's not a slightly greater decline. No, it's all your money. And that's why, for example, it's so silly. I've seen people who, they get caught into the trader mindset of trying to make money in an instant and think that they're just going to time the market. And they go on BitMEX and they 50x leverage. I've literally heard horror stories. This 25, 50x, 100x, and they just lose everything, guys. Margin is a tool. Just like trading, it needs to be respected, and you need to learn how to use it properly. I'm not trying to sound like authoritarian in any sense, guys. I'm not your parent. You got to go out there and make your own financial decisions. But this is something that a lot of people misunderstand and they misuse, and they lose out huge And for Binance, they don't care. They're making money. They're making their fees. And, wherever, whoever's putting up the capital there, they might be putting up themselves. User funds in this case, very similar to how banks and brokers do in the traditional world. They're making their money. They're making guaranteed bank, no matter if you're losing or someone else is losing, right? Or vice versa, whoever's winning. They make their money. Now, a lot of people would say that Kraken, Coinbase, OKCoin, Huobi, a lot of these exchanges already offer this kind of service. They offer margin to some degree. I don't know how much margin they're offering, at what rate, how much leverage can you go up in this case, 5, 10, 20x, whatever. Hopefully not 100x. But the major point as to why this is important is that Binance is the major retail platform for altcoins. Whether you like them or hate them, it's where people are going right now to trade altcoins. And they've held that position for a while, and it seems like they're gun-ho on keeping that position. I would say the only thing I can say, guys, is that treat it with the power and magnitude that it can, and do not deny that there are going to be those who will be able to see your orders, right, and will love to liquidate your position, because it happens all the time on BitMEX. Oh, we've got maintenance on the exchange. Liquidated. Oh, you had a stop limit set. You did set your risk reward profile. Oh, a stop limit didn't trigger. Oh, too bad. Price went down. You're out. Like it happens all the time. And there's not a customer service line on the other end to help you. I will say that it's the true, not just in crypto, it's true in the traditional brokerage world. You're not going to get someone on the line because they don't care about a retail client. They care about institutional clients that have millions of dollars. So I'm sorry for my rant and rave, guys. As always, you guys know I can get into them from time to time, but I do it when there's something meaningful to say. And I'm not going to try to sell you guys on 50x returns or anything like that, and this is how you can become a millionaire in 4 days or 4 easy steps, right? All right, so anyways, that's it for the video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Again, we're in the twilight zone. Keep safe, everyone. Play it smart, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.